I get it. You're standing in the aisle of a tech store or scrolling through endless listings and thinking, if I spend my hard-earned money on this laptop, will it actually meet the demands of my workflow, or am I just buying a glorified tablet? That hesitation is real, especially when you're juggling CAD files, 3D renders, or high-resolution video edits on the go. You don't want to end up with a machine that looks impressive on paper but stalls the moment you open the first heavy file. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The HP ZBook Fury G1i is marketed as a mobile workstation-class laptop, aimed at professionals who need workstation-grade GPU power without being chained to a desk. It's a 16-inch machine that touts a WQXGA 25601600 display, an Intel Core Ultra 7255HX processor, 32GB of RAM, and an RTX Pro 2000 graphics card from the new Blackwell generation. At first glance, it sounds like a perfect match for engineers, architects, or content creators who travel between client sites or studios. But the question is whether those headline specs translate into everyday productivity or just a glossy badge. Let's break down who will actually benefit from this setup. If you're a CAD designer who frequently works with Autodesk Inventor or SolidWorks assemblies that run into the gigabyte range, the combination of a 12-core Intel Ultra CPU and a dedicated RTX Pro GPU can shave minutes off render times that otherwise add up to hours. The extra 32GB of memory means you can keep large assemblies open while running simulations in the background without the system swapping to the SSD excessively. For video editors cutting 4K footage, the 1TB NVMe SSD provides fast read-write speeds, so you'll see near-instantaneous scrubbing and timeline responsiveness, something that many mid-range laptops struggle with. On the flip side, if your typical workload is more modest, say, web browsing, office documents, occasional photo editing, or light coding, this machine is overkill. The RTX Pro 2000 is built for professional compute and will sit idle for most consumer-grade tasks, meaning you're paying a premium for horsepower you'll never tap. In that scenario, a less expensive Ultrabook with a mainstream GPU would likely deliver the same day-to-day experience at a fraction of the cost. One of the practical strengths that sets the ZBook Fury apart is its display. The 16-inch WQXGA panel isn't just a higher pixel count. The 16:10 aspect ratio actually gives you a bit more vertical real estate than the typical 16:9 screens on many gaming laptops. Real-world testing shows that when you're scrolling through dense engineering drawings or timelines in Premiere Pro, you can fit an extra line of code or a few more thumbnails without constantly zooming out. The color accuracy, while not calibrated to a professional standard out of the box, still lands in the sRGB 100% range, making it usable for color-critical work after a quick calibration. Another hidden trade-off is the thermal design. HP has packed a fairly robust cooling system, multiple heat pipes, and a high-flow fan to keep the Core Ultra 7 from throttling under sustained loads. In practice, when you run a long simulation or a continuous 3D render, the laptop maintains its boost clocks for about 20 minutes before the fans spin up more aggressively, and you'll notice a slight increase in fan noise. It's not a silent notebook, but the noise stays within a tolerable range for a workstation environment. The key is that performance doesn't dip dramatically while the fans are active. This is an important point for anyone who expects a whisper-quiet machine for studio recording sessions. Here, you might need to invest in external mics with wind protection or a separate recording space. Battery life is another realistic factor. With a 92Wh battery, the ZBook Fury can survive a moderate day of mixed usage, email, some light design work, and a few Zoom meetings lasting roughly 6 to 7 hours. However, once you start leveraging the RTX Pro for GPU-intensive tasks, the battery drains quickly, dropping to under 4 hours if you're rendering continuously. This isn't a surprise for a workstation with a high-performance GPU, but it does mean you'll want to keep the charger handy if you plan to be mobile for a full day. Port selection deserves a mention too. This model includes a full suite of professional interfaces: Thunderbolt 4, HDMI 2.1, USB-C power delivery, and a full-size HDMI, plus an SD card reader. For creators who need to plug in external monitors, high-speed storage, or a dedicated audio interface, you're covered without needing dongles. The downside is the lack of a dedicated Ethernet port, so if your job requires wired networking, you'll need a USB-C to RJ45 adapter, which adds a small extra cost and a potential point of failure. Now, let's talk about value beyond the raw specifications. The AI-powered label HP touts isn't just marketing fluff. The laptop runs HP's Optimizer suite, which learns your usage patterns and can shift power and performance profiles automatically. In my research, users have reported that after a few days of regular use, the system learns to prioritize GPU resources when you launch CAD software, while conserving power for lighter tasks. This